it's Janet J again, and I love Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour, and you should too.
Welcome to Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour. I'm Dave.
And I'm Rick. And this issue we will be discussing Supergirl issues 20 and 21.
That's right. So, how's issue 20 start off?
It starts off with Power Girl and Supergirl in the Fortress of Solitude, Supergirl's Fortress of Solitude.
Called the Sanctuary.
Called the Sanctuary. And it's under the ocean, for whatever reason. Instead of being in a hole, it's under the ocean. And at first, the computer scans them and thinks that Power Girl is a clone. Doesn't recognize her as a separate being, but she must be a clone of Supergirl since she's a Supergirl from Earth 2.
Yeah, so the computer's confused and thinks there's two Karas and one's an imposter, so it does a scan and then it determines that Supergirl is a clone, and I think the reason why that is because Supergirl is currently poisoned with some kryptonite in her system.
Right. Okay.
And so therefore, that'd be my guess on that anyway. And then the computer determines that Power Girl is the actual
Supergirl.
real Kara.
Yeah.
And so then the place just freaks out and tries to eliminate the problem, and so it's trying to capture Supergirl.
Right.
And
so they're both fighting off the Sanctuary defenses, and as the computer keeps sputtering about the whole issue, the computer just talks about being a non-Kara. So Supergirl keeps saying, "I'm the real one," and
keeps arguing with them in Sanctuary and sending robots after him to stop him. And then at one point, it kicks Power Girl out of the building, and then.
And Supergirl is trapped there by herself, and I think you said Power Girl has to surface because she has to get air.
Yeah, she ran out of air. She didn't take a deep enough breath, but anyway, she goes up, gets the breath of air, comes back down, freezes Sanctuary.
She freezes it.
And then Supergirl uses some sort of ability where she kind of explodes and blows up Sanctuary to save herself.
Exactly.
So,
and then from that debris, it all comes together and forms the Eradicator.
Yeah, so they reintroducing the Eradicator from the 90s. So you guys who can remember back that far, read Superman back in the 90s, after the death of Superman, we had several different Supermans, and the Eradicator was one version of that. And so now they're reintroducing it in a different format, which we'll see how that works out. So
issue 20 ends with a nice little girly moment with them sharing the sunset that for a while looks like went on Krypton. So pretty touching ending, and it leads into issue 21 where Supergirl is off in space trying to find a cure because she's still sick with the Krypton poisoning. So then she has a flashback where she goes to visit her first friend, Saban, and she's talking to her about her problems, and Saban just tells her to shut up, that everybody has problems and not to run away and grow up
and face it and not run away. But Supergirl feels she has to leave. That's the only place she can find a cure for her.
Yeah, because everybody's after her, blah, blah,
and
blah.
everybody doesn't like her anyway, so she's flying through space and comes across a distress signal, goes to investigate, lands on a planet called
Inoxia.
That's the way we're pronouncing it anyway. And there's a big monster attacking people, so she goes... Crix, yeah. Looks like a big robotic dinosaur kind of thing. And so she saves the people and saves them. Buildings falling so nobody gets smashed, and she learns that everything on the planet is made out of N10, some sort of metal.
Well, before that, she beats the robot and the crowd cheers her, and we find out that it's all part of a ruse to make her feel like a hero, give her a false sense of security. So we get the idea that here's someone else that is going to manipulate Supergirl into doing something. So then she's introduced to this character called Delacour, tells her what Dave was talking about, the intent, like Dave the intent that does what did it do?
And it's kind of some sort of living metal or something, I guess. The whole planet must be made of this stuff. So they can, I don't know. I guess
They
it's
can,
almost,
they can replicate whatever
yeah,
they.
it's kind of like the replicators from the Stargate series, if you ever watched that.
the Atlantis series, I guess. But they
Well, they're in both series, but really, the Atlanta series, they had a
but
higher form of them, and so it's similar to that.
Yeah. Delacorte tells Supergirl that their purpose for this is so they can go to places where their planet is about to explode or end, and they can preserve it for future reference or whatever. And he tells them they couldn't get the Krypton in time, but they do have a few artifacts that they found floating in space after the explosion.
And
So he does an example of just how they can do this from just the basic memory from the person that was there. And what does something for Supergirl's little vision is what?
yeah, they kind of read Supergirl's mind and what stories she knows of this hero that they saved a statue of, and the guy.
What was her name? That's Craig. What was the hero's name?
We didn't write that down.
No.
Anyway,
Fighting the big lion.
yeah, and the hero of the past, and so they kind of transmute into that, and it looks like it anyway, but it's not really a hero, but it looks like it. But anyway, so at the end, how's it work here? Let me look it up. We introduced yet another of the Superman from the 90s replacements, and saying about anything being possible, and then we got Cyborg Superman showing up on this planet, and so that's also one of the Supermans that replaced Superman after he died in the 90s. So, the hero's name is Val-Rho.
Val-Rho. Yeah. Now, for whatever reason, you don't know yet, they're trying to get Supergirl to do something. I don't know if what they want from Supergirl. They're manipulating her, of course. Another person. I don't know if it's to get Cyborg Superman more complete or what. And also leading up to some kind of big team up. Since we got the Eradicator last issue and Cyborg, so who's after this? Who's after Cyborg Superman? Maybe there's going to be another.
Or is there yet another guy behind all this that we don't know about? So
anyway, they're going to manipulate her into something, and she's going to get pissed off again, and probably destroy the place. But anyway, it's a good storyline so far. I like this. But again, I don't know how old it's getting where people are using Krypton. That real or imagine getting it back to use her like that. I mean, it seems like she's so attached to it that if there's any hope at all, she's just going to fall for it. And that's her weakness right now. And they sort of get pissed off in the end, and they don't want to do that, but they do it anyway.
So anyway, that's what our little bit of understanding is on the last couple of issues. Suggest you get it. It's a pretty good read. The art's pretty good, and so.
And once again, you probably jump on with issue 19 and not really miss a beat. So in a way, DC's doing a pretty good job where they can, they have certain issues where you can start on without worrying about buying everything else.
Yeah. So unless you really like that storyline, you want to go back. I think the writer's been pretty consistent throughout, and stuff like that. So. At any rate, that's what we got on.
And the cover for 21 was pretty awesome. For 20 was awesome.
Yeah, he likes the Power Girl there, so.
Anyway, Power Girl's in her original costume, which is cool.
Yeah, which took place in the previous issue, so.
And I guess the running joke now is that Supergirl thinks that she's too old for that costume.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like the storyline. I've been liking Supergirl ever since it started. I know some don't, but I like it, and I suggest you give it a try at least before you make a judgment.
Alrighty. Thank you for watching.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, you knocked my block off.